I'm Bo White. Harry is delayed and he'll be here for a few minutes. So if we could, I think we'll get started. We'll do our invocation and the Pledge to the Allegiance and get some of those out of the way so when Harry comes, we can get started and not delay anyone's time. So let's get started with the invocation and the Pledge to the Allegiance.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, as we come before you today, we want to thank you again for your many blessings. And now, Lord, as we go and start the business of the city and the county of Jasper, Lord, we just ask that you guide us and direct us, that we will best serve the citizens of Jasper County. And Lord, we want to thank you for a good year this year. And as we enter the holiday season, Lord, we once again thank you for all that you have done. All these things we ask in your most precious name. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Take a moment of silence and think of all those in other places around the world and pray for their safety. Amen. What I'm going to do is call to order our meeting. I haven't done this in a long time, so bear with me. I'm a rookie. If I do something wrong, John, handcuff me and take me out. Thank you. Appreciate it. One of the first things we're going to do is approval of the agenda. I have a motion to approve the agenda. Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. John, do you see anything we can do to, while we're waiting for Harry?
Well, let's see, I guess, Cindy, you got any public comments? All right, so you move down, to,
No public comments,
public presentations, we can start that.
public presentations? Looks like the cupboard's bare.
Well, Sandy's going,
Mr. Chairman, we have several new staff members that we'd like to introduce this evening. Do we have someone here to introduce? We've got Sam. There we go. There's Sandy. Thank you. Sandy, why don't you introduce your new staff member?
Okay. Good afternoon, council, staff. Good to see you this evening. We're here today, I'm here today to introduce our newest employee at Public Works. This is Taekwon Polite, and he's going to be with our fleet management services down in Public Works, and I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about himself.
How are we doing today?
Good, good. How about you? Good.
Well, I want to start off by saying I want to thank all of you for this opportunity of being part of the team. Born and raised out of Beaufort, South Carolina. 20 years old. I have about 10 years under my belt worth of experience with vehicles, so just very excited to bring my knowledge to the team, help her out where I can. I haven't done a speech in a while, so
It's okay, you're doing great.
Just relax. You know how we all feel now.
yeah, I'm just very excited to be a part of the team. Anything I can help out with, I'm ready. I'm a hands-on type of guy. Anything I can put my hands on, I can pretty much fix, start up, get it running. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yes, sir.
Thank you, welcome.
well, welcome, and that's,
Welcome to you.
yeah, that's a good thing to do.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Thank you so much.
Help us keep our wheels rolling.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
All right.
Sam, you have some introductions from your department. You're going to handle that? Please.
Good afternoon, staff and council. We want to take a moment to introduce two new patrol officers the Ortonville Police Department. To your left is Matthew Messenger. He was born and raised in Central Florida. He moved to the area in 2009. He's worked for a patrol for a local private security company for 2.5 years. And just this past Friday, he graduated from the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy. So,
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
and to your right, we have Tyler Penrod. He was born and raised in New York. He served 4 years in the United States Marine Corps. He began his law enforcement career in Franklin, Tennessee. He also just recently, on November 6th, passed all the requirements to become certified in the state of South Carolina as an officer.
Congratulations.
And give them just a second to address any.
Absolutely, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just thankful to be here and happy for this opportunity. I look forward to working with y'all.
Thank you.
Glad you're here.
I also just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to work here, and I'm excited to start a hopefully long career here in Hartsville.
Thank you.
Welcome. You got a
Welcome.
good chief that teach you. He's got a lot of experience. We're glad to have y'all.
All right, thank y'all.
I'd like to introduce now an interim mayor who's coming with us for the day, Mr. Harry Williams.
I knew I was going to get some kind of grief. So, Chief, those beards look really good. Okay, I got my little dig in.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Where are we now?
Up on that second page.
Second page. Well, this is perfect timing, is it not? Presentation of proclamation by Jasper on the Move to PJ Nappy. Ms. Lynn Boyles and Judge Anansi.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council, Vice Chair of the Jasper County Chamber here present before you. Jasper on the Move is one of the many events that the Chamber holds. Just a little bit about the Chamber. As you know, we are here to promote the businesses that are in Jasper County. And one of the many events that we do is, of course, Jasper on the Move, where we go ahead and acknowledge those that have done great things in Jasper County. One of the other things that I do want to mention, we do have, if you have not joined, is text JCCOC at 71441. So that is a new way that if you want to know about events and anything happening to with the chamber, that is a great way to go ahead and sign up, and you will know everything that's going on with the chamber. So without further ado, I do have one of our board members that everyone knows is Miss Lynn Bowles. And with the Jasper on the Move, we have several categories. One of them is about community service, and she will tell us a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Nancy. Council and Mayor, I'm Lynn Boyles. I am the Director of Keep Jasper County Beautiful, and this year with the Chamber of Commerce at our awards night, we give an award of the Volunteer of the Year, and this year it was the Zeni Ingram Volunteer of the Year. And the gentleman that we presented the award to could not be with us that night, so our wonderful mayor, Harry Williams, accepted that for him, and I'll tell you a little story about Harry Williams. He called me one day when we first started Keep Jasper Beautiful, which was 4 years ago, and asked me, and I can't believe he said this, do you want to volunteer? And I was like, do I want volunteers? That's what our program is. Believe it or not, it is a volunteer litter prevention program. And I said, sure. So he gave me the name of a gentleman, and we coordinated. And this gentleman lives in the Hardyville area, and he has been a volunteer for 4 years with us. He picks up John Smith Road solely by himself, and he averages about 15 bags a month which averages out to about 18,000 pounds in the 4 years. That's 9 tons of litter that this gentleman has picked up alone. And that's just litter bags. That's not anything else. And he also has been instrumental in helping me out a lot with marketing and trying to get some other programs on the ground for Keep Jasper County Beautiful. His passion, enthusiasm, and devotion to litter prevention for the city of Hardeeville and for Jasper County is beyond measure. I am honored to present the 2024 Zinnie Ingram Volunteer of the Year Litter Award to my friend that's helped me out so much, Mr. P.J. Nappy. Here is your thank you so much. Y'all just have no idea what this means to me. Come right here and let's have one picture, and then we'll get.
How about Harry?
Oh, yeah. Mayor, can you join us?
Yeah, please, Mr. Mayor.
Put this right here.
All that, I'm gonna put you in the middle. And Harry, thank you so much for your support too, Mayor, because you have been wonderful in helping us.
I remember that, yeah.
Thank you.
Ryder, could you put one on my phone, please? Don't sit down there, Judge. You know, come on.
Oh, we got to do it again?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
PJ, would you like to say?
Thank you for all your support.
Not a big speaker, but I want to thank Harry, first of all. He got me started here. And Lynn, we've become like family, and I feel like I'm part of our group here. And I'm very proud to pick up Chad Smith. I really am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't sit down, PJ.
Don't sit down yet.
Don't sit down.
We'll hold that though for you. Send me a picture.
That same month, the council will recall that we passed a proclamation, also declaring in honor of Earth Day, the PJ Nappy Day in Hardeeville. As you see, I forgot to bring all the plaques, but I did bring the proclamation, except it says, whereas Beth Williams, so I had the wrong proclamation. You are definitely not my wife. So, since we live close to each other, I will get it over to you. But I know that we weren't able to present it to you at the time. And, but we did pass the proclamation. I do have it somewhere in my home. And I will get it to you. I am terribly sorry.
Mayor.
Mr. Mayor?
Harry. Can you use that? She said you can use this one. Just put it in the frame, just switch the frame.
Well, we'll get over it. Okay.
Oh, he got a frame probably, she said.
Luckily, PJ, somebody's awake today besides me.
You need me to sign that for you, got it.
Harry, H.A.
I'm not gonna live this down, I know.
So let me read this. Whereas PJ Nappy in 2020 witnessed a large amount of litter on Highway 278 and John Smith Road and considered it an eyesore and blight on the reputation of the city of Hardeeville. And whereas PJ Nappy, on his own initiative, began a solitary quest to solve the problem, and since that time has devoted 4 to 5 mornings every week for most weeks of the year to picking up litter. And whereas PJ Nappy soon realized that John Smith Road took all of his time, and he adopted this road as his own personal crusade. And whereas PJ Nappy was introduced to Lynn Boyles, director of KCCB, and join Keep Jasper County Beautiful and adopt the highway in November 2021. And whereas PJ Nappy from November 2021 to December 2023 has collected over 700 bags of litter that equates to 2,450 pounds, which equates to 1 ton, and 450 pounds of litter, and an undetermined number of debris such as tires, appliances, mattresses, etc. And whereas PJ Nappy, according to Lynn Boyles, is a willing, dedicated, concerned, and faithful community leader, and not only for litter prevention, but also for our community by leading by example to have a beautiful, clean, and green environment. And whereas PJ Nappy is proud to call Jasper County home and hopes to help keep it beautiful through his volunteer efforts to prevent litter and encourages all citizens to get involved with Keep Jasper County Beautiful, Adopt a Highway program. And now, be it therefore proclaimed by the Hardeeville City Council and Mayor Harry Williams this April 22nd, 2024, in conjunction with Earth Day, be PJ Nappy Day for his hard work, dedication, and positive input to keep Jasper County beautiful and the city of Hardeeville.
Very much.
Thank you.
And he also is a former softball teammate of mine as well.
Now, hopefully, I can continue this meeting and not make any more mistakes before we complete. Cindy, thank you for bailing me out there. Okay, next we have presentation and approval of minutes from November 7th, 2024, regular city council meeting. May I have a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to the minutes of November 7th, 2024?
I move that we approve the minutes of November 7th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any comments? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, next we go on to old business. Second reading of an ordinance to adopt a planned development district amendment submittal for a tract of land consisting of approximately 46.2 acres known as Hardy Station located between U.S. Highway 278, 195, and U.S. Highway 17. This is the Hardy Station Planned Development District parcel. This is ordinance 2024-11-7A. And as we did at the first reading, there are 3 ordinances involved in this property. So I encourage everybody to, regardless of what questions they have regarding the 3 ordinances, that we do it all at once, although we will have 3 public hearings and 3 votes. So, having said that, Mr. Gruber.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item appeared before City Council at their November 7th meeting. It was voted upon unanimously to approve it on first reading. There have been no modifications or amendments to this document since that time. If you'd like, I can invite staff to come up and give a summary. Otherwise, we would turn it back over to the council for any additional discussion.
Why don't we go to council questions, and staff is here because we've had a workshop and a first reading. So I'll just start with Mr. Carroll. Mr. Carroll, do you have any comments or questions additional?
No, sir, we've, like you just said, between the questions we've asked at the meeting and then the workshop, I have nothing.
Mr. White.
I agree with what John said, and no questions for me.
Mrs. Guzman.
I have just one question only because I got a couple of phone calls. A few residents in Hardeeville wants to know if this travel center will be named the Hardeeville Travel Center.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's it. Thanks. You made a lot of people happy.
Mr. Mearsman.
No questions.
There was some questions, and Mrs. Guzman wrote something read something at the last meeting. Would it might be helpful, can we put up the map and just and show what the road improvements are? So anybody watching from the public understands what a meticulous plan this is and should address any traffic concerns. So if you just take a brief moment and run us through that, that would be great. Thank you.
Good afternoon, I guess it's not quite evening yet. I'm going to take a stab at this, but we have an engineer here and we also have Katie here. All three of us should have some experience on this one, so. As we talked about at the last meeting, what did I do? Oh, I'm not on. Thank you, James. Didn't realize I was that quiet. There will be intersection improvements, part of the I-95 widening project and the redoing of Exit 8 at the intersection of 17 and 278. So that is already in, but there will be some additional things that will come from the Buc-ee's. The major part is the 2 roundabouts that will go to the main entrances for this travel center, as well as an additional down to the up to the north. So, but most of this is contingent upon the widening project of I-95 and the reconfiguration of Exit 8.
So, Brenda, could you please show the public, if they're coming either from the north or the south, and they just want to stop at this travel center, how they would come off and how they would get back on?
From the north, you're coming along I-95 this direction. The exit will be pretty much where it is right now. They are getting extended a little longer, and you're going to kind of bypass that intersection and that traffic light, and you're just going to keep into the right-hand lane, and you'll go down to the intersection with 278 and 17 and take another right. The intersection for the Holiday Inn Express, the access for that will also be down here, so it'll be the same movement if you're coming from the north. If you're coming from the south, it's a big crossover, and I'm not the best traffic engineer in the world, but I'm gonna lean on the traffic engineer and the folks to help me here.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. So, the proposed improvements.
The green button is the pointer.
Yep. A little bit off the page, but the proposed improvements SCDOT are doing is a diverging diamond interchange. Help with the traffic flow. They found to be, I guess, the most efficient and cost-effective solution for the interchange and widening improvements for 95. But coming from the south, northbound 95, you'll exit. You'll make a left onto 278, work through that diverging diamond intersection, come to the same 17 to 78, turn right onto 17, and then into the center.
Okay, and one question now. Show us, after they get gas, a Buc-ee's hat, and a brisket sandwich, how do they get back onto the road?
Yeah, so to get back on the road, they'll have a couple options. Either roundabout, navigate through the roundabout. They'll head 17 south. They'll get to the intersection of 278. They will turn left. And then if they're going southbound on 95, they'll just exit on the exit lane here to southbound 95. And then if they're going northbound, they would cross over through the diverging diamond interchange again, and then turn left onto the 95 on-ramp.
Okay, so it clearly will not affect any of the internal city traffic, and the Highway 17 traffic will have a light, and they can continue north past these roundabouts if they were taking 17 to Ridgeland, or vice versa.
It should clear it up a lot, because I know you sit and wait today to take that left onto 17 if you're coming into town, as well as waiting to get on the interstate southbound. There's a lot of that, so I do believe that
great point.
Yeah, and I was coming back from Columbia yesterday, and I know that left. It took me quite a bit of time, so.
That's a great, you emphasize that, because that's been a lot of questions from local residents stuff, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Right, and there's we're applying for a light there as well, right? At 278 and 17, another trouble spot. So there's a lot of improvements to this entire area, and from what I see, there's people who are just passing through. They can get off I-95 with those nice big 6 lanes, come and get all their stuff from Buc-ee's and get back on the highway without affecting internal traffic. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir. Great.
I thought that was important that the public understand that. And I thank you, and I've said this publicly, I thank you for a wonderful job of making this location and the exits safe, not only for your own customers, but for our local residents. I want to thank everybody who is involved in this plan for an exceptional plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
To the far north of the project, past the roundabout, you have an exit coming out of the out parcels. Is that going to be a right in, right out only, or?
It's proposed to be a full movement. The spacing of that intersection to the roundabout, there's adequate room, and it's been coordinated with SCDOT for that to be a full movement intersections. There will be a right turn lane into that site. And from a traffic volume standpoint, it's actually going to be significantly less than the Buc-ee's generated traffic. I mean, there's going to be some movement there, but most of the traffic for the development's really going to be the 2 roundabouts.
Okay, I was just concerned about the existing heavy traffic that's on 17, logging and others, that the people exiting that would have to contend with. Okay, thank you.
I think Mr. Misman made a good point. If these out parcels are developed, will they be able to head south and get to the roundabout as opposed to coming out on that other curb cut?
Yeah.
So they'll have access to that?
There's interparcel access, the internal access roads. They'll all have access and can access the roundabout as well.
Yeah, I think that's important because the roundabout will be easier at times. And the other thing to emphasize to the public, this is not anticipated to be a diesel truck stop. Is that correct?
That's correct. Definitely not a truck stop. In fact, I've been at Buc-ee's before, and they're chasing them away.
Right. So that again, I'm asking this for the public. So the public, they don't have to worry about, okay, we're going to have a zillion trucks going in and out of this site, because that's not the business model for here.
That's correct, yeah.
They'll have to park their truck down the street if they want to get a breakfast biscuit, right? Okay. You got to have some fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Go to McDonald's.
All right. Thank you very much.
Don't stop for breakfast. Just sit down.
All right. At this time, I'd like to offer the public the chance to come forward with any comments or questions for
There's
this.
one online.
No, we have a virtual one.
We have a virtual one. Jerry Mercogliano, I hope I pronounced your name right, asks if lots 1 through 6 and 8 will wait till the new 95 intersection is completed, or just lot 7. You can see that.
Yeah, that's a valid question. I know specifically Lot 8 nothing will occur there prior to the travel center being constructed. Lots 1 through 6, there hasn't been a definitive timeline. My understanding, there's no specific tenants, no specific users for those, and a lot of what is envisioned to drive the demand for those lots is once the Buc-ee's comes. So it increases the value of those and it's more desirable for those. So I don't envision that they would open prior to Buc-ee's or the interchange. There could be a little bit of overlap, a month or two, but nothing significant.
While you're here, I thought of another question real quick that we've been getting from the public. Timetable. I understand that the DOT widening up to 9, they'll finish up to 9 in approximately 4.5 years from their start, which is early next year. Is that correct?
That's my understanding as well. I understand there may be a little bit of fluidity in which interchanges get constructed first along the corridor. Buc-ee's, if we had our preference, this would be the first interchange done, so it can open up sooner.
It'd be mine too, by the way.
Yeah. So you were kind of at DOT's, timelines and schedule on that. But I think kind of what was described previously is it'd be a dual ribbon cutting for the interchange with the travel center too.
Okay. That was more for the public than for me, and I appreciate. Does anybody else want to say anything, or do you just want to sit there?
I'm here to answer questions.
Okay.
We might get into.
I don't want to put you on the spot. So this has been a very well kept secret, and so at this point, if there are no other comments from the public, I'd like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to ordinance 2024-11-7A.
So, go ahead, John.
No, go ahead.
No, I got you. Got it.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve on second reading ordinance 2024-11-7A.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we have the second reading. This is the initial master plan for the same development, and this is ordinance 2024-11-7B. Mr. Gruber, is there any more to add here?
No, sir. This matter remains unchanged from your last meeting.
Mr. Mearsman, do you have any additional questions?
No questions here, sir.
Mrs. Guzman?
No questions, sir.
Mr. White?
No questions.
Mr. Carroll?
No questions, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so I will go straight to public comment. Are there any further comments or questions from the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes. This is ordinance 2024-11-7B.
Make a motion that we approve ordinance 2024-11-7B.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further comments or questions by council of the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The third item regarding this is the second reading of an ordinance. This is the DA agreement, and this is between Hardyville and Red Moon Development. Mr. Carroll or Mr. Gruber, any further comments on this?
No, sir. Again, this matter remains unchanged since your last meeting.
Mr. Carroll, any further questions? Mr. White?
No questions.
Mrs. Guzman?
No questions.
Mr. Mearsman?
No questions.
I have none either, so we'll go to public comment. Does the public have any comments regarding this? Okay. No further comments from the public. I'd like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to ordinance 2024-11-7C.
Make a motion for the approval of ordinance 2024-11-7C.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further comments or questions by council of the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations. Next, we have the second reading of an ordinance to adopt an initial master plan submittal for tract of land, 628 acres, to be known as Riverport Commerce Park Phase 3 and Riverport Parkway South, located between I-95 and US Highway 17. This is 2411-7D. Mr. Groover.
Thank you, Mayor. This matter was similarly on council's November 6th or 7th city council agenda. Staff made a presentation of the details regarding the initial master plan. There have been no modifications since that presentation. Happy to bring staff back up to review it with you if you'd like, or we can answer any questions.
We'll go right to council questions, and you can come up at that time. Mr. Mearsman.
No questions.
Mrs. Guzman.
No questions.
Mr. White.
No questions.
Mr. Carroll.
No questions.
I have no further questions after last week either, so at this time, I'd like to open it up to the public. The public have any comments or questions regarding this ordinance? Okay, seeing none, I'd like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to ordinance 2024-11-7D.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve on second reading ordinance 2024-11-7D.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Lamar, you got, that's about the easiest you ever got off.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Congratulations. Happy Thanksgiving. Second reading of an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2024 budget of revenues and expenditures totaling $54,736,570. Mr. Gruber, please.
Thank you, Mayor. When this was initially introduced at your last meeting, there were several questions that were brought up regarding where specific funding was being moved from in order to make the financial adjustments match up for our end-of-year numbers. That information was provided to you in your packets, although I understand some people may not have had a chance to access it or view it. So I'm going to ask John to come up, and if John, you could just do a kind of a brief overview about those movements so that everybody has information about what we're doing in order to close out those changes.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Good afternoon.
What council had asked for was maybe a little bit, not too much detail, but a little more detail on where the expenditure savings had been and where the expenditures were going. So I just expanded on this a little bit more. Again, this is all within the expenditures. We're not addressing over and unders in any kind of revenues. This is just balancing general fund expenses to general fund expenses. I can walk through all the details again if you'd like, or I'd just be happy to answer any questions. Your call.
John, the only thing that I would make sure that council's aware of is that these numbers reflect vacancies that were available within the various departments, but they do not represent a transfer of the actual funding for any positions. So to the extent that those different agencies and departments have those budgeted positions, they remain within their respective departments. It's just a reflection of the fact that as of the end of the fiscal year, those positions had remained open, and therefore the budgeted salaries and benefits had remained unspent.
Thank you.
Okay, so
Yeah, absolutely.
let's go to Mr. Mearsman.
No questions.
Mrs. Guzman.
No questions.
Mr. White.
No questions.
Mr. Carroll.
No questions. Good summation, Josh.
I just have some questions about some of the abbreviations that EE,
Employee benefits.
employee benefits, okay. And the fire department, 375, says salaries and overtime. Is that all overtime, John?
No, it's both. Steve had a number, yes, to answer your question, it's salaries and overtime, but there's a lot of overtime in there because, like, as I mentioned last time, there was a point where Steve was 7 firefighters short, and that's very stressful, of course, and did drive up our overtime.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure, it's not an important point, but whether that was all the overtime number or there's more salary in there. But that's fine. The other thing on fire, it says 120,000 for equipment. Isn't that typically on another line item? Or is this equipment that wasn't in the budget when we passed it?
It's not necessarily, I believe your question would be, is it more of a capital type thing? And it really was not. It's, we bought we had the new fire truck, so there was some additional equipment we were able to provide for that, not necessarily equipment that's going to be long lasting. And then also some upfit on the ambulances as well.
So these are additional expenditures than what we approved when we approved the budget, I guess, back in the spring.
Not different things, but the cost of those things was increased.
Okay, that's a good answer. Okay. All right, that's, for the data, $120,000, the same question. Was that additional expenses? Was that why wasn't that, or was it in the budget when we passed it? Or is this an additional expenditure?
That's going to be there's a little bit of both of that there. So, obviously, the cost in that space is going up quite a bit. And then as the city grows, more people, as we added staff and everything, some of the costs of making sure that the people had what they needed were a little bit
So
higher.
these are cost increases in that category that were not anticipated when we passed the budget.
No, because, and with each year, there's a software piece of that. There's a software piece in the budget. And then this is James's department. His department covers all of that. So it's twofold. The cost of the insurance or the data services, the software is costing more. And then there were some needs that we might not have foreseen when we were doing the budget in this.
Okay. Thank you. All right. At this time, I'd like to open it up to the public. Does the public have any comments or questions regarding this ordinance? Seeing none, I'd like a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes. This is ordinance 2024-11-7E.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve on second reading ordinance 2024-11-7E.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. Now, new business. This is resolution of the City of Hardeeville, South Carolina City Council entering into a memorandum of understanding with Buc-ee's Limited regarding certain improvements to SC Highway 17 and authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the city. This is resolution 2024-11-21A. It's a resolution, will require one vote only this evening and one public comment session. Mr. Gruber, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a new business item that's appearing before you. The city's been in the process of negotiating a agreement with the Buc-ee's organization related to the infrastructure that you were previously discussing earlier this meeting. I would like to turn it over to the city attorney to provide you with any details about the actual agreement itself.
Thank you, Manager, and again, welcome. I missed your first meeting, so this will be my first meeting with you here. Mayor and Council, yeah, and if we can pull up Exhibit B, I think is what the document's called, which shows the map of what these improvements are, but it's approximately 3,000 linear feet that Buc-ee's will be completing prior to their opening. That's the area that'll be encompassed, so it'll be the road widening, storm drainage updates and upgrades along that 17. And if you have any questions about the document, I know it was also discussed at length during a workshop.
Mayor, I'll just add to that, just for the public's benefit, so that they're aware, anybody who might be viewing this from afar. The agreement provides that the city will reimburse the developer up to a cap of $8 million for the cost of installing this infrastructure as shown on the exhibit. The revenues necessary to pay those reimbursements will come primarily from hospitality taxes that will be generated within the property itself. And as a backup, we will look at using accommodations tax revenues as a supplement if for some reason they're not sufficient. However, based upon the data that's been provided to us and the general market sales that we're seeing within other similar stores around the area, we are very confident that the revenue that's going to be generated from hospitality taxes alone will be sufficient to pay the debt service, which has a 0% interest rate on this particular arrangement.
Thank you. Let's start the questioning with Mr. Carroll.
Ordinarily, I probably would have a few more questions, but I talked with Josh, and he explained this, and I think it's a win-win situation for everybody. So no, sir, I don't have any questions.
Mr. White.
Well described, win-win. I have no questions.
Mrs. Guzman.
I have no questions, sir.
Mr. Mearsman.
Just two questions, basically for just for the public. Linear feet. This is going to be 3,000.
Approximately 3,000, yes, sir.
Okay, approximately 3,000. And for the city manager, the revenue should be able to the accommodations tax revenue should, or the H tax actually. The time frame to, what's an estimated time frame to be paid back? Do we have that?
So we won't begin making payments until after the store has been opened. And then once that occurs, we have a 10-year repayment window.
Okay.
Now, there is no prepayment penalty, so if we had rather additional revenues, we want to, we can pay it off. But again, with a 0% interest loan, essentially, we'll likely use the full 10-year repayment schedule.
Okay, that was just for the public's information to have. Thank you.
Actually, that was my first question as well. The 10 years starts when the cash register starts ringing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. On that same page, section 4, item number
If I
C.
may, and just to clarify, it's actually going to be a year after, so it won't be until you started generating some revenue that the repayment would start.
Okay, so when the revenue comes in is when the clock starts.
There's even a greater period. So it's
Okay.
not just when the door is open, it's a year after the door is open.
Yeah, and just to clarify too, the agreement does contemplate up to 8 million, but once the actual project and improvements have been engineered, we'll have a more specific cost.
Also, I'd like to just, if you would, please, the next item down, item C, section 2. Forgive my ignorance, but I couldn't quite understand how these excess costs work. Are we liable for any excess cost?
No, so Buc-ee's will cover anything over 8 million if it ends up being that, but you can sit down and negotiate with them at that time if you want to cover a portion of it.
Okay, because that's what got me confused. Buc-ee's agrees to fund the excess cost. The city shall have the right, but not the obligation, to participate in funding or reimbursing Buc-ee's for all or a portion of these excess costs. So that's kind of an open end. So what happens, let's say it's $9 million. And Buc-ee say, hey, I'd like to negotiate. Is that what that clause allows?
Yeah, it allows you to renegotiate, but if the city does not wish to participate at that time, Buc-ee's has agreed to cover whatever is over that 8 million.
Okay.
For these specific improvements.
Okay, I just want,
Good question, because that is kind of ambiguous.
yeah, I was a little confused by the wording, and I just wanted to clarify it. One last question, when it came down to the DA fees, and did I miss them, or I didn't see them listed? What exactly are there, or they will come later?
The DA fees are in the Hardy Station Development Agreement, which is a separate document.
Oh,
You approved
okay.
that earlier this evening. It was the third item
Oh,
of
it
the
was
Hardy
in-
Station approval.
It was in that document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. Next, we'll ask the public if the public has any comments or questions. No? So then I will ask for a motion to approve, disapprove, or make any changes to Resolution 2024-11-21A.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2024-11-21A.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any further comments or questions by council or the public? Seeing none, I'll call for a voice vote on this. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Welcome to Hardyville.
Yeah. And that's what the people wanted to make sure, that this is Buc-ee's Hardyville.
Please, you're more than welcome.
I'll sell those later.
Hi, Stan Beard, Director of Development and Real Estate for Buc-ee's. Really glad to be here. I'm a big fan of this town, and I know that eventually, once we get going in earnest, that the rest of our company will be a big fan as well. So we're excited about being part of this community. It was, really obvious with the trash picker upper, and I mean, it's he's our kind of dude. So we're excited about being part of that, and we appreciate your participation in the improvements that's going to make all this work. And so let's get going.
Let's get going. We've, obviously this has not been a secret, and it's awash in social media, and there's always negative people, but mostly just almost entirely positive questions, some questions about the traffic, which is why I went through it before. We are proud to have you part of our community, and please pass that on to your upper management, and thank you for your investment in our city.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll have to change.
No, that's good.
I'm glad you didn't bring that up on the camera.
The cup
Your cup.
Oh. Lovely organization.
Yeah, they are.
Being a good neighbor.
Oh, all right.
Good neighbor already.
Okay, next we're going to go to the manager's report. Mr. Gruber, please.
Thank you, Mayor.
They don't want to let you get past anything here.
I've got a number of exciting things I get to talk about with you this evening. First and foremost, I want to make sure the public's aware. City Hall and all city offices are going to be closed in observance for Thanksgiving. So we'll be closed November 28th and 29th. Also want to make the council aware that the city of Hardyville, thanks in large part to our wonderful finance team, was recently awarded the Government Finance Officers Association Outstanding Achievement in Annual Financial Reporting.
Wow.
It's the third year in a row that they've received that award. They are also the smallest jurisdiction in the state of South Carolina to be called what's called a Triple Crown winner. So 3 separate awards, all for their financial reporting abilities. So I'm very excited to be able to recognize them.
Wow.
For great efforts. Next, I want to let you know that we've received $31,600 in state grant funding for new and replacement equipment in our Parks and Recreation division. So we always like to highlight our ability to go get outside funds that we can bring back here and benefit the local community. I want to take an opportunity to recognize Cindy Oliver. Cindy has been appointed as the president of the South Carolina Business Licensing Officials Association.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Way to go.
Anytime that we can be out there taking leadership roles in the state, it makes us as an organization and as a community look great. So we want to take an opportunity to recognize those folks. Similarly, we want to recognize our municipal judge, Judge Nancy Gutierrez. She's been appointed to be on the Summary Court Judges Advisory Committee. This is a group of individuals who are going to look at the practices, the policies of summary courts all across the state of South Carolina, and they're going to be coming up with recommendations on how they can make those court systems efficient and effective for all South Carolina residents. Also want to remind folks that with the upcoming Thanksgiving holidays, our fire rescue team and our communications team has been working on getting information out to the public about safe cooking tips. We have that information posted on our website and in our social media streams. So it's always a good idea to remind folks that this time of year, you just need to be careful whenever you're frying up your turkey or whatever you're doing in your kitchen.
Don't do it in the garage.
I want to recommend against that.
Do it in the bedroom.
And then lastly, I know I'd sent an email out, but wanted to make sure that the community was aware. The Federal Emergency Management Association, FEMA, is currently in the city of Harveyville. They're operating out of the Recreation Center on John Smith Road. They are operating what's called a Disaster Recovery Center. What that is a place where folks who've been impacted by any of the recent storms over the last several months to come in and meet with FEMA representatives directly to talk about options and resources that may be available to help them recover from those storm impacts. And they'll be here through Saturday. And that's it.
Thank you, Josh. What I'd like to do is shift now to our council and see if there's any comments, concerns, any questions as our mayor comes back.
Again?
Again.
Well, why don't we start reverse alphabetical order, and you go first.
Fine. I have nothing to report at this moment.
Mr. Mearsman.
Nothing, sir.
Mrs. Guzman.
Nothing. Wow, this is a
I
record.
can't believe that with you, Val.
Nothing for you either?
Take it away, John.
John?
Well, I'm kind of embarrassed, but I guess I have to take Val's thunder a little bit. We did do the ribbon cutting for Hardy Green, and that's a nice development. And I want everybody to make certain that they that are watching or go online about the Christmas tree lighting and the Christmas parade on December the 5th and 6th. So please, let's have a good turnout. There's been a lot of improvement. And I have one other thing, but I think probably the mayor's going to do it, and I don't want to steal his thunder. So I'll leave that off. But I do want to add something after you say it.
Okay, okay.
And that's it, Mr. Mayor.
I'm going to make up for all of you because it really has been very, very busy.
I thought you probably would.
And first of all, on the 8th, I'll go in chronological order. On the 8th, we had a breakfast for Josh to meet the community, and I met people I hadn't met before who came from the business community in White Hardy Boulevard. We have new owners at the Quality Inn. So it was a very good event. Veterans Day at Margaritaville, I took as my guest Mr. J.W. Harper, and congratulations to him on not only on his birthday, but for 97 years, and he's still driving. It's amazing. There on the 12th was the Housing Symposium, and I was on the panel with a couple other mayors and Mrs. Howard from Beaufort County Council, and we were telling them about the different things that each of our communities have. I did just get a PowerPoint. I haven't had a chance to forward it, but there was some very interesting statistics about the need for housing in this area. We know it, but when you see the statistics, it's really amazing. But I just got that yesterday, I think it was. I'll make sure I forward it to you. There was also on the 12th was Gateway Commerce presentation. And on the 12th also, we had an Exit 3 meeting. So that continued. There was on the 13th, SALT, which had its groundbreaking on the next day. There was a dinner that I was sitting with Senator Davis, Representative Hager, Marty Sauls from the county, and also Senator Brad Hutto, who's not from this area, but it's on the Southern Carolina Alliance, and that was in anticipation the next day of the SALT groundbreaking. But the reason I brought up that dinner is because in my conversations with the state people, we do need to get together, and I spoke to Josh about this, a very focused list so that when we go up to Columbia on the 20th, we can start asking our state people for money for various projects, and that's going to be very important. The Youth Council has chosen to be part of this coming Monday's turkey giveaway event. And the police department has also decided to participate in that, and the kids wanted to give away soup and sandwiches as the people come through. There's going to be 250 turkeys given away with the fixings, and then after they do that, they'll be given soup and sandwiches, and I think we're planning on 500, right? And I just want to take note that Mr. Rick Patel is providing the food for that event. It will also be a drop-off box for coats and outerwear for the Department of Juvenile Justice. And Mr. Napoleon every year puts together this event so he can provide kids coming out of the system or in the system with outerwear for the winter. So please spread that word. I'll be sending out some flyers. If you could pass that out, and if people want to donate, we're just going to have a drop-off box for that. We're also still looking for volunteers to help out with that event. Harvey Place on the 16th. Just can't say enough about Harvey Place and the collaboration with Farino, the city, and with Habitat for Humanity. And as you know, I'm the board secretary of Habitat. So we have 10 families moved in. Saturday I went, they were supposed to be moving in. I only got to meet 2 of them. I stopped by, Beth and I, and wished them well as they moved into their homes because they closed last week on that. There was a meeting with LK and with Josh and I, and that resulted in there will be a joint planning commission council meeting on December 4th, and they will be presenting a new plan for what's Road A. Josh has maps if anybody wants to see that in advance. Thanks again to the media. We're doing Shop Local. As a result of meeting the Quality Inn people, we're Jess and Juan and Daniel. We went over to the Quality Inn. We did a practice run. We're going to go back there and film a little something to help that business get going. And Jess and I talked, we'll probably do something for Hardy Greens as well. Josh and I gave our first joint Zoom meeting to the Hilton Head Island Realtors, telling them about particularly Exit 8, Exit 5, and Exit 3 off I-95. And of course, Tuesday we had the Hardy Greens ribbon cutting. And then after that, we drove to Columbia. And yesterday morning, sat in front of the State Transportation Infrastructure Bank and received the last $35 million of the puzzle to complete Exit 3. And that, I spoke to Justin Powell, who's the Secretary of Transportation. I asked him if they could put a little cutout because I want my urn and ashes to go into Exit 3. I don't think he granted my request, but that's really wonderful. There's so many people to thank over the years, including Senator Davis, who's been every time over the years, certainly since I've been mayor, going up there, sometimes getting beat up. But Senator Davis was there every single time. But also Bill Herb Kurtzman, Weston Newton, Bill Hager were constantly talking to the governor and to Chairman White about the necessity for this project. I asked Ben Gramling, who from Gramling will be developing this project, that he come in to the council and perhaps a joint, I spoke to Andy, maybe having a joint council meeting with the county so they can start telling us what to expect at Exit 3 in the 1,600 acres that's going to go around that exit, which is the TIF zone. So a lot of exciting things coming for Exit 3. And finally, that will be bid next month with the I-95 widening project, which is due, I think they want to start February or March, Josh, right?
Exit 3?
Well, they'll start at the bridge widening, and then when they get, I don't know exactly when they'll start with Exit 3, if they'll wait till the road's up there or they'll start building it while they're coming up that way. But the plan, from what I understand, is when they start in February, March, it'll be 4.5 years to complete up to Exit 9,
Mayor,
or mile marker 9.
We've got a schedule from DOT that talks about those steps, and so we'll resend that to all council.
Right. So that's really exciting. This morning, we, Josh and I and some staff were at United Resources, and they had a tilting up opening. And if nobody see how they put these buildings up today, they get this crane and they tilt it up, the whole wall. It's really, I've seen pictures before, but seeing it in person was really something. So our congratulations and welcome to United Resources. What they do, they assemble display cases for stores, if you see display cases on the end of aisles. So it's a great new, and they're from New Jersey, believe it or not. So we have more people from New Jersey coming. Just a couple of hours ago, after that, Josh and I, we sat with the Morgan Tract, and I'm not going to give a lot of public information about that. You can talk to me or Josh privately, because that's regarding the MOU for the interchange improvements that we're talking about at 278 and John Smith Road. But that will be coming out, and there's a reason why I'm not going to expound on that in public. And lastly, I sent the council, a note this morning with some suggestions. Please give some thought to how you want to proceed on those things. And lastly, Happy Thanksgiving, Hardyville, and may everybody have a nice, long, happy weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, John, did you want to?
I'm just going to expand, you pretty well covered it, Mr. Mayor, but I wanted to, say how many, about 12 years, I think, something like that, we had figured out
Yes.
that, and that, and he was not here now, Mr. Simbor, but he was one, you and he worked together a long time on that, getting that together. And so many people have wanted to know about Exit 3, and, they had some posts this morning talking about the benefits of what Exit 3 will do, so. Long time getting this project in, so it's good that it's finally done. I was beginning to worry at times.
Oh, yeah, tell me. But one of the things we presented to the bank, and not my calculations, but the developers, this direct impact of Exit 3, because there's going to be apartments, there's going to be houses, there's going to be warehouses and all kinds of things around an interstate. 13,500 new jobs, $3.5 billion in economic impact for Jasper County, and $115 million per year in tax revenues for the city, county, and school district. So the economic impact of Exit 3 is huge, huge, and it's a big win for the Low Country. A lot of people were involved in this, including, you know, you mentioned Mr. Zimbor. You know, I've been doing this for 8.5 years, but before that, I'm told that Mayor Bostic also did a lot of work on that in the early years. So my thanks to him. All the previous councils that had a hand in getting us to this point. It was a long road, but the economic benefit of not only the city and revenues, but the amount of jobs, just like Buc-ee's, that we're bringing not only new jobs, but bringing jobs with better paying salaries than perhaps they have in years past. And that's the exciting part, because it's all about the people that we serve. Enough said.
Real moment of Thanksgiving for us.
We have a lot, you know, think about Exit 3 when you take that bite out of that turkey leg. So, on that note, may I have we have to go into executive session. Discussion of negotiations incident to proposed contractual arrangements and proposed sale or purchase of property, the receipt of legal advice where legal advice relates to a pending, threatened, or potential claim or other matters covered by the attorney-client privilege, settlement of legal claims of the position of the public agency and other adversary situations involving the assertion against the agency of a claim in accordance with South Carolina Code of Law 30-4-782. We will be talking about a land acquisition on Randall Street. Council may take action in open session on matters discussed in executive session. But, Mr. Gruber, do we anticipate that?
No, sir. I was going to say, for the public's benefit, we're likely to adjourn directly from executive session with no action being taken.
Thank you. So, having then, all we need is a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion. Go ahead, Steve.
We have a motion by Mrs. Guzman, a second by Mr. Carroll. Any comments or question? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you.